Hello dear students, I am Samir Velankar. I welcome all of you to this another video on transaction management in DBMS. Now in the previous video we saw what do you mean by schedule and what is the meaning of serial schedule. In this video we will learn another type of schedule called concurrent schedule. Now in fact, this entire chapter is revolving around this term concurrent schedule because just in the earlier video, I told you that although serial schedules give us the correct result, but we are not opting, we don't want the schedules to be serial because we want to use the resources to the optimum. So, what do you mean by concurrent schedule? Let's say that there are two transactions, T1 and T2, and T1 is responsible for transferring 10,000 rupees from account A to account B, whereas T2 is responsible for offering 10% interest to account A. Now, these two transactions are different transactions, but both these transactions run concurrently, and hence both these transactions make a schedule. So we say this schedule is schedule of two transactions running concurrently. And just check that the schedule here that we are looking at is in such a way that two operations of T1 execute, but then T1 preempts, giving a chance for T2 to execute. After two operations, T2 preempts, one operation of T1 runs, but it immediately preempts, giving chance for T2, and this goes on. But don't come to any conclusion like this particular type of concurrent schedule will be like this. For example, it may be that T1 executes read A, this operation, and then immediately preempts. Then T2 executes read A equal to A into 1.1, and then write A also, all three lines, and then preempts. And then back to T1, where T1 decreases the value of A by 10,000, and so on. That means the way that the two transactions are going to preempt or interleave each other is not defined. Anything can happen. I mean, T1 can relinquish, leave the CPU at any point of time. By the way, we should not come to any conclusion that if there are two statements of T1 executing, then there will be exactly two statements of T2 executed. What that gives us an idea is about if we think of two transactions, T1 and T2, just running concurrently, and there is a schedule of two transactions called concurrent schedule, then how many such schedules are possible? See, this particular schedule which has been shown is one of the possible concurrent schedules. I hope you understand. What is that one of the possible schedules I'm talking about? Two lines of T1 run, then two lines of T2 run, then one line of T1 runs, then one line of T2 runs, and so on. But this is not the only possibility. It can happen that three lines of T1 run, then three lines of T2 run, and then three lines of T1 run. Anything of such interleaving is possible. So how many such concurrent schedules are possible? Let's see. The number of concurrent schedules that are possible over here can be understood as follows. Let's say that T1 has two operations. Let's say A1 and A2. Think of A1 and A2 as operations. Okay, let's write this as follows. Let's say let's say T1 has two operations. Just give me some time. T1 has two operations, A1 and A2, and T2 has two operations, let's say B1 and B2. Okay, let's keep it simple. The two transactions are having two statements, two operations each. Then how many such schedules are possible? Concurrent schedules I'm talking about. Now, one of the possibilities is A1 runs from T1 transaction, then B1 runs, then A2 runs, and then B2 runs. I hope you got this. This is one of the schedule. Let's call it as S1, schedule 1. But the other schedule possible is that A1 runs, then B1 and B2 both run, and then A2 runs. You agree? that one line of T1 runs and then both lines of T2 run. That means T2 gets so much of chance to execute both the instructions and then back to T1, and T1 executes its instruction A2. So this is the second schedule. What will be the third schedule? Third schedule will be maybe that B1 runs first. That means T2 starts first. This transaction starts first. So B1 runs, then A1 runs, B2, and then A2. Just check this. T1 and T2 are running. Now B1 first executes. T1 starts first. After that, A1 executes, then B2, and then A2. This is also one of the concurrent schedules, isn't it? And what is the other schedule? S4. It can be that B1 runs first, then A1 runs, then A2 runs, and then B2 runs. This is the fourth schedule possible. You should understand that there is no other concurrent schedule possible other than these four concurrent schedules are possible in this case. Now come to a question. I hope you will understand this straight away, that if somebody argues on the point that how about this schedule, let's say S5, one more schedule. S5 is A2 runs, then B1, then A1, and then B2. Senseless. This is wrong. This is wrong. Tell me, when you are running these transactions, how can you say that in the beginning A2 runs? Check this pointer. I'm saying that A2 instructions runs first and after that A1 runs. That means permutation between the two operations of a particular transaction is not possible. You cannot flip these operations, isn't it? Yes, you can have any combination between the two transactions, but within the transaction you can't rearrange the operations. So any such schedule is not possible. Hence, you can watch again that four schedules are possible given T1 and T2 with two transactions each. Okay, I'll clean the slate. Let's come to some formalization. What do you understand from here? Last time we were given T1 with two operations, A1 and A2. T2 was having two operations, B1 and B2. Then how many number of concurrent schedules were possible? How many concurrent schedules were possible? Now you just check that the number of concurrent schedules that were possible where can be written as, if you say T1 has in general A1 operations and T2 has in general A2 operations. Okay, let's put some name to them. So here A1 and A2 both are 2 each. So the number of schedules, just check this, number of schedules is equal to, you can write the formula as A1 plus A2, the addition of this factorial divided by A1 factorial into A2 factorial. I'll explain the formalization, but wait a minute. First of all, let's put the values here and whether it is working. Just see that this A1 is 2 and A2 is 2. So this becomes 4 factorial, and 4 factorial is 24 divided by, now just check that A1 factorial means 2 factorial and A2 factorial is 2 factorial. That is 2 into 2, that is 4, and the number of schedules we got is 6. But you recall the number of schedules we got were 4. Recall again, S1 was A1, B1, A2, B2, correct? S2 was A1, B1, B2, A2. S3 was B1, A1, B2, A2. And S4 was B1, A1, A2, B2. So we had only 4 concurrent schedules, but according to this formula, the number of schedules are coming out as 6. Now those two additional schedules are like this. Watch, S5 is A1, A2, B1, B2, and S6, the sixth schedule which we are talking about, is B1, B2, A1, A2. Now these two schedules are serial schedules. Please try to understand. That means entire transaction T1 runs first and after that T2 runs, or T2 runs first, B1 and B2 both transactions of T2 runs first and then T1 runs. So in this formula we have written the number of schedules possible. So this 6 is the number of concurrent schedules plus serial schedules that are possible if A1 and A2 operations are present in T1 and T2. Just observe that what has been done in this formula is nothing but, if there are A1 operations, if there are A1 operations in T1 and if there are A2 operations in T2, then we are just permuting them. We are finding all possible permutations of these operations. But then some of the permutations, are not valid. For example, I was saying that such a schedule is not possible, that A2 runs first, then B1, then B2, and then A1. This relative order of A1 and A2 cannot be changed. And this relative order permutation has been counted in the numerator. So we have to cancel out that. We have to cancel out that by dividing this with A1 factorial into A2 factorial. This is based on the counting principle. So in general you watch that if we are given n transactions, t1, t2, t3, t4 up to tn, many transactions are running concurrently, then t1 has a1 operations, let's say, that means a1 statements. T1 is the transaction having a1 statements, t2 is having a2 statements, t3 is having a3 statements, a4 up to an. So Tn, this transaction is having number of statements as An. Then how many schedules are possible? Number of schedules first of all. Now listen, this number of schedules include serial schedules also. That will be A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus up to An factorial, divided by, remember, the relative arrangement within the transaction is not possible. Permutation of operations within the transaction is not possible. So we have to cancel out that. A1 factorial into A2 factorial into A3 factorial up to into An factorial. These are the number of schedules possible. Okay. So this has been, these formulas have been given in the text over here. You can go through this, pause the video and just find out. Now let's solve an example. Here we have been asked, find out the number of serial schedules and concurrent schedules. Check serial schedules and concurrent schedules if number of transactions are 3 and number of operations in each transaction is 2, 4, 5. That means T1 is having 2 operations, T2 is having 4 operations, and T3 is having 5 operations. Then they are asking how many serial schedules and how many concurrent schedules are possible. Now, first of all, number of schedules possible is 2 plus 4 plus 5 factorial, isn't it? Factorial divided by 2 factorial into 4 factorial into 5 factorial, isn't it so? So this will be 9 plus 2, 11. 11 factorial divided by 2 factorial into 4 factorial into 5 factorial, isn't it so? So this amounts to 11 into 10 into 9 into 8, 7, 6, if I am not wrong, because then 5 factorial here will get cancelled out. Okay. And what remains in the denominator is 2 multiplied by 24. 4 factorial is 24. So 6 fours are 24, 4 twos are 8, and this gets cancelled. So this is 90 into 11. That will be 990. So the number of schedules possible, okay, the number of schedules possible are 90 into 11, isn't it? So that will be 990. These are the number of schedules possible, but that's not the question. They are asking how many serial schedules and how many concurrent schedules are possible. Now this formula has given us total number of schedules. What are the number of serial schedules? I hope you have watched the previous video. It is so easy. If there are 3 transactions, I'll just erase the screen. If there are 3 transactions, T1, T2 and T3, then you can easily arrange these transactions as, let T1 run first completely, then T2 runs, and then T3 runs. Now you see, T1 runs completely when it finishes, then T2 starts and ends, then T3. Or you can say T1, then T3, then T2, and so on. Now we saw in the earlier video that if there are 3 transactions, then there will be 3 factorial serial schedules. Of course, because you can do permutation of T1, T2, T3 in 3 factorial ways. So number of serial schedules are 3 factorial. which is equal to nothing but 6. So total 6 serial schedules are possible. And we got number of schedules which included serial and concurrent schedules as 990. So hence number of concurrent schedules will be 990 minus 6. So this is the answer for serial schedule and concurrent schedules, and of course total number of schedules also, which is 990. So in the next video we will see a very important property which should be preserved by all transactions, which is called as acid property. Acid property is so important that when we are talking about transaction management, we should say that a transaction has executed properly if all these properties are satisfied. See you in the next video. Thank you very much.